Very good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Wednesday, the 6th of August, 2025. We'll start off looking at today's synoptic, just wind it back. A couple of pictures there. So we got yesterday with the lunchtime, the high pressure beginning to ridge its way in from the southwest, clearing out the frontal systems that we'd seen on Monday. And overnight, continuing to become dominant. And we now have a case where we have nice clear air over the UK. High pressure dominating, and there is a low out just between Greenland and Iceland there, potentially bringing a little bit of frontal activity later in the week. But for us today, we should see fairly typical high pressure conditions, blue and reasonably warm. We can see just running that through, and tomorrow, possibly a cold front going through at some point tomorrow afternoon. Uh, Quite a sizable cold front actually associated with Dexter over here. And then hopefully another period of settled weather over the weekend. But back to today, looking at the sat pic, just reload that. You see nice and clear here, some clouds from around Liverpool and north. And there's definitely some wave influence there in the north of England and up into Scotland. And we can see out to the west there's quite a lot of sort of medium thickness upper cloud, and that's working its way in from the west, and that will arrive with us at some point later this afternoon. Rain radar, thankfully nothing of note at present. And if we run the Met Office rainfall forecast through, you can see nothing at all in this part of the country for the vast majority of the day. Early evening, starting to see some very thin areas of rain coming from the west, but I can't imagine that's going to cause any problems. Overnight, however, we can see associated with that front that we looked at on the synoptic, fairly big line of wet weather. Odium TAF then, not much to discuss there. It's variable at 3 knots today, visibility greater than 10 kilometers, and cloud few at 4,000 feet. Farnborough, on the other hand, we have also variable at 3 knots, Cav OK, and becoming between 9 and 12, 210 at 10 knots. So south of a southwesterly flow today. Spot winds to the south, we're looking at generally southerly around 5 knots, and southwesterly as you gain height. And to the north of us, it's 230, 240, about 5 knots as well. So fairly light across the board. On the ground here locally, you can see windy showing a very weak westerly flow initially, but we're expecting that to come more from the south as the day progresses, but remaining fairly light. Just looking at the local Met Office forecast, we can see the strongest we can expect is about 7 or 8 knots later this afternoon, southwesterly. And with that in mind, we'll be operating runway 27 today. As well, this forecast fairly low humidity with reasonable visibility and a very high UV up to 7. So do cover up and keep hydrated. Surface temperatures today are around 22 degrees locally for us, with a dew point of between 5 and 6. And we can see, looking out to the west there, on webcam from the south side towards 2XL, no significant cloud or weather of any sorts for us. So we should be in for a fairly good day, both for the local flying and any cross-country. Temperature-wise, went out to 14 degrees locally with a dew point of 10.2, so looking to get slightly larger spread there. And now having a look at the SkySight point forecast. On the left-hand side of the picture here is an excerpt from the potential flight distance. You can see it's showing reasonable conditions over a fairly large area for us here. Point forecast, on the other hand, on the right-hand side of the screen, showing to be blue for us all day, soarable up to around 4,500 feet above Lasham, with climbs ranging between 3.5 and 4.5 knots. What is depicted on the point forecast here, though, is a fair amount of top cover actually arriving re fairly early, probably earlier than actually, or the bulk of it will, around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then progressively descending down to mid-love cover, a fairly typical warm front type uh, cross section there. And down to thermal top winds, again, not a great deal to talk about. Southwesterly, very light there, about 5 knots, 5 to 7 knots, and the pressure reducing slightly throughout the day and overnight for a lower pressure tomorrow. We've also got a cross section here available from SkySight, as we're not able to access the Met Office one for Odium at the moment. So this is generated for Lasham itself. And you can see slightly later prediction for that top cover around about 3 o'clock local time and progressively working its way down throughout the day. Top Meteo for another opinion on the cloud, starting at 9 o'clock local, showing blue for us here. Mid-morning, we're starting to see some cumulus to the west, and SkySat doesn't seem to think it's going to get particularly near us. But by midday, you can see there was a small patch a bit to the west of where we are at the moment, but potentially reachable. But later into the afternoon, that deteriorates and dissipates. By 2 o'clock, we can start to see a bit of medium thickness cirrus, and that continues to fill in, thickening up with a bit of autocumulus later into the afternoon and early evening. No times for today, not a great deal of significance. Local to us at 29, we have Delta 132, the ash ranges that will be in use. Over at 30, just to the north of the plains, we've got paragliding at devices all day. Over at 36, that big area just north of Bristol, that's in the Severn estuary, a temporary danger area for beyond visual line of sight drone testing, and that's from surface to 1,400 feet. Over at 33, we have West Ilsley. There'll be winch launching paragliders to 1,900 feet. And to the south by Portsmouth there at number 10, we have another temporary danger area for drone testing, and that's from surface to 600 feet. Along the south coast there as well, there's a collection of small circles. Those are all various paragliding NOTAMs. We'll finish off now with the local briefing, starting with glider allocations. We have 3 K21s today for booked instructional flying. There's 1 K21 operating the 5-day course, and there is 1 21 for the casual list. Number 4, SH3 and SH7 are on the Silver and Beyond course this week, and we have 7 on the casual list this morning with 2 instructors. By all means, if there are any other instructors around, we've got plenty of K13s that we can use, so do come out, get stuck in, and help out if you like. As always, the simulator is available as normal, and once again, a reminder about the aborting expedition. Got nothing to report today with 2XL. And in summary, we can have high pressure dominating, bringing our warmer blue conditions. We should have progressively thickening top cover arriving from the west around mid-afternoon, and with a moderate southwesterly flow across the airfield throughout today. We'll be operating runway 27, as I said previously, with the winch cables on the south grass, and any requirement from a grid can be carried out on 27 north grass in the usual place. Please ensure you're ready when the cable lock tag arrives. That applies to both the grid and the launch point. And do not land or taxi across the disused runways shown in red. Finishing off here with our airfield setup, as is so familiar now. Winching off the south grass, airtowing on the north side of the hard runway, and the grid up to the north there by the 2-3 star. That's all from me this morning. We'll see you out there very shortly. Let's have a good day and keep it safe. Thank you very much.